When you look at your WordPress blog, there's two main areas. There's the text area and there's the sidebar. Now, it depends on your theme how this is laid out. Some have a sidebar on both sides. Some have a sidebar in the footer, like in the Social Coaching Center. We have a widgetized sidebar that goes all across the footer of the page. And you'll see that you can be as long as you want it to be. Now, each of these sections or blocks of text is powered by a widget. So let's go look at how widgets work. We're just going to go into the Appearance tab and we're going to click on Widgets. Now, this is going to show you the available widgets that come as a default. When you first install WordPress, if you're using the blog theme 2010, the defaults are going to be these ones right here. Now, you don't have to use these. If you don't want to use them, just drag them out and they'll not be in that sidebar anymore. If you want to use some, let's say you want to use the tag cloud feature. Drag it into the space that you want it. If you don't want it here and maybe you want it in the footer widget, let's go ahead and drag categories down into the footer widget and archives. Let's put recent comments in the second widget. And let's put in the tag cloud. Now let's decide that we want to edit the tag cloud and call it words we like. Now, we're not going to have a lot of tags in this particular blog because we don't have a lot of tags yet. We haven't written anything in this blog. And in fact, we've only got 1 or 2 categories. But you can decide if you want it to be categories or post tags. I'm going to say let's make it categories. And now I'll click Save. Now when we go and look at the blog, and we'll do that in a minute, we'll see a tag cloud of those categories. Now remember, categories don't show up until they've been used. Same thing with tags. Nothing's going to show up in that tag cloud until you've written posts and you've got content. So let's say that we want to put the meta tags over here. This is the admin, some of those interesting little bits of information, and I'll show you what that is in a minute. So we're just going to call it meta, and this is the title that's going to show up. We'll click Save and we'll close it. Now let's go and look and see what this looks like. I'm going to open it in a new tab. We'll go look at the tab, and here are meta tags. See, you have site admin, login, the RSS feeds, and a link to WordPress.org. Typically, I don't put this in, but I wanted to show you quickly how to use these widgets. You see, we only have one category. Uncategorized shows up in the tag cloud. The recent post, adding videos to a post. Categories shows up, and archive shows up in the secondary level nav and the third nav. So remember that we've got these widgets here, the first widget area, the second widget area, and so those are going to show up down here in the bottom. So that's what this is. So you see, widgets give you a lot of usability, add a lot of functionality, and if you don't see something that you like, you can always add more. Go and search on WordPress.com for widgets, and oftentimes when you add a plugin, it will add a widget that you can use for the sidebar. So you can look for these things and use them. Now let's say that right now we don't want to use the tag cloud, but we've edited this widget a little bit, so we might want to use it later. Instead of dragging it over here to where it was in the first place, which will set it to default, we're going to drag it down here to inactive widgets. What that's going to do is keep the settings, but it's going to remove it from the sidebar. So when we do have a bunch of categories and we want to put it back, all we have to do is drag it back into the sidebar and it'll be all set. Now I'm just going to drag these back up out of the footer widget area and put them back in the sidebar. And now if I go and look at the site and refresh it, they're all back where they were, and there's nothing in the footer. That's as easy as it is to manage widgets.